Welcome to another day with Jay. In this video we are back on the trail. Our next stop is the Madonna of the Trail statue in Richmond, Indiana. I will be taking a closer look at some of the odd coincidences I have been experiencing along the way. Coincidence number 1, rocks, and takes us back to Springfield, Ohio. Coincidence number 2 was literally buried right here in Richmond, Indiana, in not one but 2 giant burial mounds. Coincidence number 3 is a little odd, or a lot odd, depending on your perspective.
Hey, brothers. There's something new going down.
If we are meeting for the first time, my name is Jay. I make videos about coincidences and conspiracies. I am currently working on a video series about the 12 statues of the Madonna of the Trail statue on the Old National Road US 40. Our next stop is a Madonna of the Trail statue in Richmond, Indiana. If this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, then buckle up, Buttercup, because this show is about to get started. The Madonna of the Trail statue in Richmond, Indiana is located on the southwest corner of Glen Miller Park on US 40. It was dedicated on October 28, 1928. The historical significance of the site: it's the first toll gate in Indiana. The statue faces south. It was never moved. It's still in its original location. It was restored in 1988. It was rededicated October 29, 1988. Bonus coincidence: John Carpenter's cult classic, They Live, also came out in 1988. If you haven't seen this movie yet, it stars Roddy Piper, who plays the role of an unnamed drifter. Roddy Piper discovers a resistance group at a homeless camp that uses special sunglasses to identify and disrupt the subliminal messages of a ruling group of alien overlords. Oh yeah! I wonder what this statue would look like if it wasn't restored in 1988. Coincidence number 1, rocks, and takes us back to Springfield, Ohio. When I saw a picture of this old Rush album at the Hearts of Ohio Antique Mall, it reminded me of my Tartarian theory. In my Tartarian theory, I had stated that I believed that Tartarians had really big brains, and this enabled them to think at a higher level than modern man. The album cover is a naked guy dancing on a giant brain. I don't know what this coincidence means, but I think I should listen to this album and try to find out. The main song is about the different hemispheres of the brain. The left, more analytical side of the brain is represented by the Greek god Apollo. The right, creative side of the brain is represented by the Greek god Dionysus. These 2 gods are essentially battling for control of the hearts and minds of all of mankind.
Neither force would yield, and people were divided.
Coincidence number 2 is literally buried in not one but 2 giant burial mounds. But first, let's take a look at some of the interesting museum exhibits in Richmond, Indiana. It starts at the Joseph Moore Museum. Joseph Moore Museum is adjacent to the Dennis Hall on the Earlham College campus. Tahan the Mummy. Richmond is home to the only 2 Egyptian mummies in Indiana. Tahan was purchased for the Earlham College collection in 1889 by President Mills. The Pleistocene giants, 2.5 million years ago until 11,000 years ago. The Randolph mastodon, a giant sloth, Smilodon, and a giant beaver. But that's not what we're here for. We're here for the native people of Indiana. Let's learn more about the ancient Adean who lived here more than 2,000 years ago. I first learned about the Adean culture in Wheeling, West Virginia. That's where I came up with the giant Tartarian theory. There must be Indian burial mounds near here. The Madonna the Trail statue is at the entrance of Glen Miller Park. The water from the spring in the park is known for its medicinal purposes. It was officially tested and has been determined to have a high iron content. Many people believe that water with a high iron content has many health benefits. On a hot day, I find the pool in my backyard to be therapeutic as well. Yesterday, there was a couple of dragonflies in the cave under my waterfall. The dragonflies symbolize wisdom, change, transformation, light, and adaptability in life. The next part of the song talks about the god Apollo and what he has to offer to mankind. Hayes Arboretum looks like a great place to go on a nature hike and look at ceremonial burial mounds from the ancient Adean culture. Just past Glen Miller Park, there is a hiking trail with 2 officially recognized ceremonial burial mounds. According to visitrichmond.org, there's a Native American hike. This is a couple years old, so I'm not sure if it's still accurate. Here it says that 3,000 to 1,500 years ago, our region was home to the Adena and Hopewell peoples. Join a naturalist on a hike to explore their culture and visit their ceremonial burial mounds located on Arboretum property. Dress for the weather and meet at the Nature Center. No RSVP needed. To find out more about the burial mounds, you can go to hayesarboretum.org. You can go up here and look at Visit, and you can go to Hours and Location. And then you can download the trail map. It says here we have an Indian burial mound along the Orange Trail, and then the other Indian burial mound is over here on the other side of the swamp. I'm not sure if this one is accessible. Wherever you see rolling hills near a Madonna of the Trail statue, there are possibly giant burial mounds. Another unique feature of Hayes Arboretum is Morton Arch. This arch was originally part of the Garfield School built in 1894. In 1910, when the new high school was built, the arch was salvaged and moved to the Hayes Arboretum property. The arch originally covered the door facing 8th Street on the old Garfield School. This view is looking towards the southeast. There's the arch right there. Sticking true to the typical architecture of the time, they have a giant door, giant windows, and the bottom layer of windows are half buried. Here's a close-up of the arch and of the bottom layer of windows. According to the article in the graphic from 1963, a man named John Harrington purchased the arch. They were tearing it down, and I was thinking of going into the nursery business. I own some ground, part of the Hayes estate now, and so I bought the archway and had it moved out there to be the entranceway for the nursery. But I never went ahead with the nursery, and I sold the property soon after that. In the moving process, the entranceway was taken completely apart and each block numbered. Then the loads of blocks were carted to the present site, mortared and fitted together again. Not to discount the story of local old-timer John Harrington, but the story seems a little odd, which leads us to our third coincidence. Coincidence number 3 is a little odd, or a lot odd, depending on your perspective. When I was looking at the architecture of Richmond, Indiana, I found the Independent Order of the Oddfellows building. Maybe you have heard of the Oddfellows before, or maybe you haven't. Messy Nessie, the Cabinet of Chic Curiosities, has a great article about the history of the Oddfellows. The Independent Order of the Oddfellows has existed for centuries. During the golden age of fraternalism, they had more members than the Freemasons. There were prominent historical figures like Charlie Chapman, P.T. Barnum, and Wyatt Earp. World leaders, Winston Churchill, and Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, were all Oddfellows. That's right, they had a woman's version as well. It is called the Daughters of Rebekah. Bonus coincidence of the day. There is also a giant burial mound in the Oddfellows Cemetery. The Oddfellows Cemetery mound is located in Newton, Ohio. Not only is there a giant burial mound in the middle of it from the Adena culture, there is also a second burial mound in the cemetery called the Oddfellows Cemetery Mound 2. Is there a connection between the Daughters of the American Revolution and the Daughters of Rebekah? The ancient Adena culture is a powerful coincidence that these two societies share. What other mysteries will we discover on the next stop of the trail? Nobody cared who I was until I put on the mask.
You can live in grace and comfort in the world that you transform.
In the Celestine prophecy, they say the more you recognize coincidences, the more prominent they'll become in your life.
The people were delighted, come forth to claim their prize. They ran to fill their cities and converse among
What could this garbage bag that blew in on the wind mean? Could this be a message from the god Apollo, thanking me for sharing his message with all of mankind?
They ran to fill their cities and converse among the wise. But one day the streets fell silent, yet they knew not what was wrong. The earth to fill these findings seemed none to be so strong. The wise men were consulted and the fringe of death was crossed.
In my next video, I'll be exploring what the god Dionysus has to offer to all of mankind. What coincidences will we encounter along the way?